All right. Welcome back to another episode of Light Skin Pod. This is episode 30, Big 3-0. We're adults now, and it should be a fun one.
I hope so.
Yeah, it should be. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I am Brian Daugherty.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know more?
Yeah, and we can get into that,
Okay.
and that's all right. And before we get into that, don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and just enjoy our content. So, well, like always, we will start with baby Brian. Tell us about growing up in life.
Personal, professional, where do you want to start?
Let's start personal life.
Okay.
Where you were born, things like that.
I born and raised in Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay.
I have traveled not very far from my original birthplace
Okay.
at all. I was watching a Bruce Springsteen documentary. I can't remember whether when Springsteen was on Broadway, and he shares that here the guy who wrote "Born to Run" lived 7 miles from his house that he was born. I thought I feel like that a little bit.
Yeah. Which part of Duluth were you?
So I was raised in Lakeside.
Okay. Yep.
Born on London Road, not in the house, of course, in the hospital. And raised in Lakeside, and then we ended up moving back down to London Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Siblings? How many siblings do you have?
Interesting. I come from a mixed family.
Okay.
This is a joke. Can I tell a joke?
Yeah. Why not?
My parents are of mixed race.
Yeah.
One's a sprinter and one's a hurdler.
Okay. Yeah. I'll pick up on that in a minute.
That takes a little bit.
A little second.
Or I could say one's a marathoner. That might be better. But anyway.
I was about to say, no way. One is black and one is white.
Yeah.
There's no way. But it was good.
I have 2 stepbrothers.
Okay.
One is deceased.
Okay.
So my dad died when I was real young. When we lived in Lakeside, I was 3 years old.
Okay.
And then I had a older brother who was 5-ish, and a younger sister who was 1-ish.
Okay.
And when he died, my mom was left holding the bag.
Yeah.
They had a business together.
Okay. Yep.
Called Careers Unlimited in Duluth, and very difficult time for her, obviously. And then we grew up, watching her date and try to, find another person, a compatible soulmate. And she married a guy by the name of Richard Heim.
Okay.
When about 5 years later, and Richard was an educator from UWS.
Okay. Cool.
And he had 2 boys. Here's the story. He had 2 boys of his own, and he was recently divorced.
Okay.
And together we moved back down to London Road. The 5 of us. So one of my, and I never look at them as stepbrothers because you just.
Yeah, definitely.
Brothers.
How old were they when they came into the family?
Okay, we're all pretty young. We're all in that same group.
Got it.
I'm 7, one of them is 8, and one of them's 5.
Got it, okay.
Right in there. So we all grew up together. So to answer that was a long answer to, I had 3 other brothers and 1 sister. Now, they're not all around anymore, but that's where it started.
Yeah. Was it tough initially having them come into the family?
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we acclimated. The boys we acclimated to the Chris and Eric were their names. Chris and Eric very quickly, but it was at opposite end of the room, and it took a few weeks. But my mother and father were, they were trying to figure it out still, and they were pretty hands off as we grew up.
Okay.
Very, almost like more concentrated on their relationship and trying to make that work and their professions work than
For sure.
I wonder where the kids are.
Yeah. No, I get that. When I was young, so it was me and my brother, and we both had different dads, but we were as close as ever.
Did you grow up together?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Same house. But then I want to say when I was maybe 10, or maybe a little bit younger, but let's just say 10. My mom got married to this guy named Earl Dunn. And me and my brother, and I talked about this before, but like, we was very protective of my mom because we had to be. Like, and my real dad got killed when I was 3. I was
Same
super
thing,
young.
huh?
Yeah. So I didn't really
How
know
was
him.
he killed, if I could ask?
Like a drug deal going wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was in harm's way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Life he kind of put himself in, and but then my brother's dad, who I knew is who raised me, did the best he could, but he was on the street a lot too.
Okay.
Kind of doing his own
Is
thing.
this in Jersey?
This in Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. And so him and my mom was never really together either. So we were only used, for the most part, to me, my brother, and my mom, and we just liked it that. So when my mom started dating this guy, they ended up getting married, and he had 2 boys, and we were close to one of them, but the other one not really. And it was having them coming to the household. It was like, nah,
the dynamic was strained.
Yeah, because me and my brother were so close,
And you're at 10-ish at this point.
Yeah, and my brother's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had been on the street a lot of fighting, just crazy stuff. So it was hard to have these kids that came from another neighborhood move to our neighborhood, and then we try to accept them, make sure they all good, and still trying to figure out if this dude is good for my mom and all that, So that dynamic was crazy. So
you know what? I think this is going to sound very psychobabble, but I think it is good to re-examine those things as you grow up, because if they're left unresolved, they have a way of presenting themselves again, in some way, shape, or form that may not be healthy. So I think it's good to think about those things and review them and process them and go, wow, I really didn't like him. And boy, I separated myself, and that's why I separate myself from these people now. Yeah, it's good. Socrates. Life unexamined is not worth living. I think there's merit to re-examining everything from way back.
And it's crazy because even now, before we get back into some other stuff, like I look at like what I do now or how I am now versus who I was like back then. I'm like totally opposite, at least in my thinking, and how I approach people or treat people. Because before I was very much like, running with gangs and stuff. So you feel like everybody's your enemy, at a point. But then you get to a point where it's like, nah, they just different. That's okay for people to be different. I look at me and my Joe, and like, this is my best friend. We are pretty much nothing alike, but we are very much alike when you get to the root of things, like how we treat people, the things we do for other people, serving community, things like that, But I think that difference is what makes us close, and being able and willing to meet people that's so out of your box, and even your thinking process that you're like, all right, I can learn something from this person,
That just spurs about 5. I'm going to take over this interview.
That's all right. That's all right.
Well, first of all, that strikes me as a complementarian relationship, which we talked about. It doesn't mean you're alike. It means you're different, but you complement each other in many ways, and that produces growth.
For sure.
Friction produces growth in people, and that's something. My first question is, so you are, proclaiming that you're a changed person from the way you thought. What precipitated those changes? What started you growing?
I think it was like I was taken in by a family when I was still a teenager. And it was very different. So like growing up in like a 1-bedroom project apartment to now living in a 12 to 15,000 square foot house in Pennsylvania. So it was like, this is crazy, But
would you say out of an unstable environment to a more stable environment?
Oh yeah, very much. Yeah, very much so. And like going from just a single mom to now you got 2 parents in the house.
Support group.
Yeah, it's very different. And the people that support you are pushing you towards something positive rather than saying, hey, you need something here. I'm
direction, mentoring.
Yeah, big difference, you know.
Holy cow.
Yeah, my mind started to change then of like, what does it mean to be successful? Because before my heroes was like Griselda Blanca, and Frank Lucas, you know, all these big drug dealers, because that's all we saw.
Yeah.
We didn't know anything else. And then I looked up to like Ray Lewis and Jonathan Ogden and Haloti Ngata, like football players, stuff like that. You know, but that was superficial still to like what I wanted, yep. who I thought I wanted to be. You know, so then I come over here and you realize, oh damn, it's possible to go to college even if you don't got a scholarship, or I can look at other careers rather than go to the NFL. You know, that thinking was wild. Or even like, oh shit, I can work a job other than having to sell drugs. Those things you don't realize how much it don't make sense until you're put in a different environment where you have different options.
Your vision is just myopic and short, and you don't see all the potential.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I'll never forget when we took my mom to Philly for the first time. She hates bridges, but we took her over the bridge, and there was a digital billboard. I'll never forget this. My mom was so in awe that there were digital billboards. This is 20 minutes from my house. That's it. She had never seen a digital billboard. And I remember being in the car thinking, shit, I ride by this every day. You know, like this is, but it's new to me. I mean, it's familiar to me now, but it's new to her. Oh, you know, so even some of those experiences, like I wanted for my brother and my mom and things like that. And like I look at my brother now, he was wild growing up. Like we were both fighters, but he fought every day. He's a cop now. He's a police officer. Was in the military. His wife is a nurse. You know, they're doing very well in Virginia Beach. And if you would have saw us 20 years ago, you'd say them boys either going to be dead or locked up.
They're not going to make it.
Hell no. Yeah. There's no way. You know, and now like we are doing very well, and even helping other people get to a point of saying, hey, we know life can be shitty, you know.
Life is shitty.
Whatever, yeah, and it is.
It's rough. It's full of suffering, and it's full of malevolence and betrayal. Yeah. It's going to be there for everybody.
Yeah, you know? But there's a way to, you know.
Trying to adjust that target to say, okay, I was just crapped on, but so what? My options here are to be bitter and start throwing punches, or aim at something higher than that and go, okay, there's a lesson here. What I got to learn from this? How do I move forward? Yep,
and that's what I do every day in my nonprofit, working with kids. We have the toughest kids in the area.
Yeah, it sounds like
it's wild, but.
You have kids that and your life is serving you in that
100%. Oh yeah, yep. Everything I've learned or been through, like we get to show these kids, like, hey, we've been there. I know you. Sometimes you can think what you're going through is the worst in the world. Nobody else can understand. I'm here to let you know, it's not as bad as it seems sometimes. No. You know, and let me help you get to a better place. So.
And there's options.
Yeah.
There's
potential. It's a lot of options.
There's growth.
Yeah.
That's a great message and super important. Because why do that's the great why question. Why do some people get crushed by these things, and why do others use it? And how do they?
How? Oh yeah. Turn. That's always a question. Oh yeah.
It is. It is. Why does one make it and one not? My sister died of alcohol abuse.
Okay.
And we both were, in a family where, and again, I'm not knocking my upbringing, but it was very hands off and left to our own devices. We found, some not great paths. And I asked that question a lot. Why did she get crushed by this? This lifestyle, and why did I, and that doesn't mean I didn't wander in the desert for quite a while, for a decade or two. But I always, not always, but I ramped up. I started changing my trajectory
for sure
at some point.
Yeah,
as a result of all of it.
All right, so let's back up and then we go through that.
Woo.
Thank you. I appreciate that segue. It was good. So where did you go to school in elementary through middle and high?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I went to St. Michael's
Okay.
for a few years till I got thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got thrown out in third grade. That's pretty weird.
That's how. All right.
How do you do
How
that?
how does that happen?
Well, they're pretty strict there,
Okay.
and I did, nothing, I wasn't violent or anything, but I didn't go a lot,
Okay.
and that was a problem, and they finally threw me out.
Okay.
And that was, and again, kind of maybe a result of my mom getting married to this guy, and he's, more into her than to us, and so you kind of act out, and I'm not sure how that got there, but it did. Went to Lakeside, which is a little elementary school up there. Popped into Ordine, which is that still around?
That's still around.
Still around, but
still
that's the
around.
old East.
It's
Yeah.
the old high school.
Thank you.
Where was Ordine before?
40th.
That's the new high school.
That's the new East High School.
So they just switched?
They switched and then built up the high school.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So Ordine and East. Yeah.
All right.
Those were my early years, and then I went to UMD.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask. When you finished high school, did you want to stick around here? Did you always know you wanted to stay in Duluth, or
No.
was that just the?
My plan was, as a senior in high school, I decided I wanted to make films. I wanted to do movies.
Yeah.
And I applied to a college in California. It was called the Valencia Institute of the Arts. Got in, went out there, and this is in my senior year of high school, and looked like that's what I was going to do. And then I got a job at Grandma's.
Okay.
And that's...
Grandma's in Duluth.
Yep.
Got it. All right. And so that brought you back.
New place.
Okay.
Well, I just went, so I'm at East High School my senior year.
Oh, you just visited?
Yeah.
Okay, got
I
it.
drive out to California, take a look around. I like this lifestyle. This looks good. Oh, by the way, that's not that interesting. I was going to say Johnny Depp, or not Johnny Depp. Who was his director? Tim Burton.
Okay.
Ended up going, I found out some interesting alumni from that school.
Okay, yeah.
And he entered in 76, the same year I would.
Oh, that's cool.
If I
Okay,
went.
yeah.
So
That's the what is right there.
I
That's
got to
cool.
get him on the show.
It's
next.
right.
Okay.
If you hear us one day, one of these
Tim
days.
So I went and applied at this new place opening, Grandma's in Canal Park. Got a job. Missed my first day of work.
Okay.
I was very irresponsible still at this point in time. It flashes.
Yeah.
It was in flashes. Got back on track and fell in love with hospitality immediately. I just the energy there was just everything that fed me.
Yeah.
It was fantastic, and I stayed.
Okay.
But I went to so Grandma's opened in February of '76.
Okay.
And I was still planning on leaving, but through the summer, I really loved the job. And I said, I'm going to give it another year.
Okay.
I'll start at UMD and we'll transfer it and all that. But I didn't.
Okay.
I stayed there and leaned in.
Yep.
I ended up changing my major about 5 times, 6 times, and ended up leaning into business at the end. The last 2 years because, Grandma's was this very unorganized, but very customer-focused restaurant, and it needed organization so badly that I actually started taking business classes and administration and management classes so I could help organize the place and get it set up and stocked and prepped and ready for every day. Because I enjoyed this is a joke that I also share with people, that my desire to have a smooth work day was confused with leadership. I just wanted to get out there and work with the customers and make sure that they walked out happy. And I was very irritated by, why are we running out of Godfathers? Why aren't why isn't the bar stocked? So I would stay after work and prepare prep lists and prepare supply lists and par levels and all that. And everybody, oh, you must be the boss. No, I just want to enjoy this.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I get that. That's interesting to hear you say, because I'm very much hands-on at my job. And sometimes I get so focused on just the kids and families, which is good. That's the point of the job. But but then I try to take on so much of the other part too of, making sure all the finances is good and things like that. And it took me a while to learn the balance of, like, as much energy as I put here, I gotta make sure I put on this side too, because I can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
I won't be successful. My staff won't be successful. The kids won't be successful. And I'm all about fun. I love having fun. I would rather do that than anything.
Fun's fun.
It is.
Fun's renewing.
Yep, for sure. But sometimes you just gotta sit down, put your head in the computer, and just do what you gotta do. So.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I think that, that's overly philosophical. I was just going to say that, happiness is a byproduct of accepting your responsibilities, and not only accepting, engaging.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, whoa, I'm going to really take this fatherhood thing seriously and bring it to another level and actually be good at it.
For sure.
And then all of a sudden, when you start doing that, you find, I think, happiness in meaning and passion. And, I just, kind of think it all begins when you figure out that engaging in your responsibilities is going to make the difference.
Definitely. For sure.
It's going to promote everything else.
Yep.
And like you just discussed, finding that balance when you really want to over-engage so you're able to do it every day is a lifetime struggle.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is. It's always going to be.
You're never going to get over it.
Yeah, no, and that's all right. So, all right, now you graduated UMD.
I didn't. I'm 18 credits short.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
I started making like big bucks. I think I was making $16,000 a year.
Killing them.
So at that point in time, I thought, I don't need college. I'm already rich.
Trash. Yeah.
No, but that's where I was. I think my first starting salary was 16 in the early 80s, and I ended up leaving school.
Okay.
I was all in too. I mean, I was working, 70, 80.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't, and it was just fine. We were very motivated by what we were doing.
Yep.
It was important to make money, but we were not focused on making money.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Maybe we should have been a little more focused on it.
Now, at that point, how many restaurants were around at that point? Was it still only the one in Canal?
Yeah. So we opened our second restaurant in '81 in Minneapolis. So the Grandma's Canal Park opens in '76, and Duluth is, not what Duluth is today. Interesting though, our population. This is a struggle for Duluth. 1980 we're 80,000, 90 we're 80. We've been 80,000 ever since. But the dynamic has changed completely on food, beverage, and the arts and all that, which is great.
Yeah.
But it has not impacted the population like it should. Another topic. So in '81, we end up going down to downtown Minneapolis, and we open this. We think we're smarter than we are, and we open up this huge. Were you ever in Grandma's Minneapolis?
I've never been to it.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I've never been to it.
Well, it's not there anymore. Since the collapse of the bridge, the I-35 bridge, it changed everything. It was like COVID down there. It was just a game changer for everything. But we bought this building that was in a historic district right by the main U. And to maintain the footprint, we gutted it completely and kept two walls together, two facade walls to maintain the historic integrity of the building, and then rebuilt it.
Okay.
It was 3 floors. It was the Taj Mahal of restaurants.
That's crazy.
Had a big nightclub on the first floor, a 300-seat restaurant on the second floor,
damn.
and then another nightclub and pool hall on the third floor.
Oh wow, okay.
It was something.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that. That's probably crazy.
It was an amazing place, and it prospered very, very well for a number of years. And in '81, the drinking age was younger. It was 18.
Yep, 18.
Being next to the university.
Perfect.
It was, I mean, all 3 floors were bustling at any given time. But things changed. Those softened up. Hours retracted. Restaurant always did well. But, you know, a big monstrosity like that has to operate on all cylinders instead of just one.
Yeah.
So it started ailing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily not making money, but you know, just running flat. And then the bridge collapsed. And
Now, how long was it up before the bridge collapsed? What year was that?
can you fact check me on this? So whenever the bridge collapsed, I want to say 90-ish.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it had a 12-year run, I think.
Wait, 90s? The I-35 bridge?
Yeah. Was it 2000s?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that was
20-year run?
2010 or something,
Well,
wasn't
Oh, really?
Whatever it was.
it? Sure. That's my Google machine, which isn't very accurate.
I don't want to pull up my phone, but so that's we said, okay, we're not getting it back. Traffic patterns have changed. Even Dinkytown, I don't know if you're familiar with that little commercial district down there. Everybody was struggling.
Okay.
And we had an offer made that we couldn't refuse. You know, a housing contractor came in and made a real good offer. So we said goodbye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, at that point, did you start expanding even more, before that?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have an interesting growth, and I'm not prepared. Obviously, I'm not prepared to discuss dates.
Yeah, and that's all right.
When the bridge collapsed. But so yeah, let's see, 81, and then I think we purchased. So my owner, Andy Borg, was wise enough in Canal Park to purchase properties as he went, and I don't exactly remember when he purchased the properties, but they sat until Canal Park kind of caught up.
Yeah,
you know, and started getting into. It wasn't into hospitality like it is.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I hear a lot of
the
stories.
pictures.
Seen pictures. Yep.
Junk cars on the water and all that. But 85 was the big transfer, the first major renaissance of the waterfront. 85, they started a waterfront plan. It was beautiful, and it was executed in 3 years, 85 to 88-ish, let's say. And then we started opening other restaurants in Canal Park from the properties we bought.
For sure.
Yeah,
Right.
and I want to say the Garden might have been next. And I remember that when that opened because my son was born in 89.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it was like trying to figure all that out at the same time. And the Garden was a result, the Sports Garden it was called, was a result.
That was fun.
Yeah, good, yeah. And you know, it's had another rebirth.
Yeah. Which we're going to talk about too.
Yeah, but so it started as a result of grandma's in Canal Park had at the time had one of the biggest volleyball leagues in the state.
Oh wow!
I think we had like 225 teams and had Hugh
man.
Rodley.
Okay, yeah, Big
He was
Hugh.
our sports director
Big Hugh.
for quite a while. He was.
You know what? I think I heard this story too. A little bit from
Yeah,
you.
well, he was awesome. He's you know, again, he's big personality, very customer focused. We had a broomball league in the winter. He really elevated us. So anyway, with that thinking, we should do this full time. You know, kind of like a Skyline bowling lanes right now.
Yeah.
So we opened the Garden with that in mind, and yes, we had an indoor basketball court. We had 3 outdoor volleyball courts.
In the Garden?
In the Garden, indoor basketball.
What?
Yeah, the original concept of the Garden was sports by day,
Okay.
and the nets would drop, and you would dine around these leagues.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I
That
haven't
was
heard
a
a lot of
real
that.
deal.
That's dope. Okay.
Yeah, even when like I graduated high school and then into college,
Yeah.
there used to be dining during the day, and then you would have activities. I'm sorry,
Leagues.
opposite, yeah.
Leagues, and then the nets would come up. I mean, this thing was constructed. There was a lot of manual labor. We didn't automate a lot of things. The protective nets would come up because you'd be sitting there in volleyballs and basketballs. And then we had a canopy like that, except it was 33 feet.
Yeah.
And it was loaded with speakers and
Okay.
lights and smoke machines, and that would come 11 feet over the floor and start the music. Yeah.
So what made those leagues die down?
Well,
Just-
that's a great question, and I'll give you the simplest answer I can. People didn't want to necessarily eat next to sweaty athletes. Okay, that's the simplest. And let me just kind of, so I'll give you an example. The night of, say, a UMD hockey game, okay, grandmas would have an hour and a half wait. And the garden would be relatively slow because the people who came in, wanted a dining experience and not necessarily this experience. It seemed like it was going to work at first. So it wasn't full when it should have been full.
Got it.
That's the easiest explanation. We needed parking. Canal Park needed parking more and more and more as other things opened. Angie's, Green Mill, all these places that started popping open. And they had removed the parking requirements of Canal Park with the 1985 waterfront plan. In other words, you could open a business without parking. That wasn't the case before the 85 waterfront plan. So parking became a necessity. So we had a lot of real estate there in bocce ball courts, volleyball courts, etc. So we contemplated that. And then the other thing, and I don't want to make this disparaging about volleyball, but I think the Skyline people would tell you this too, is that when we get done playing volleyball, we go down and we might have a pitcher of beer. So there'll be, 6 to 10 people at a table, a pitcher or two, and that's it. The economics don't work super well when that's all it is. Maybe they'd order. So the sales during that period, the nightclub was thriving. After 9 o'clock was huge. But up until 9 o'clock was a struggle. So we made a very big decision. And again, we had leagues everywhere, and we got everybody together. Huge job. I think he'd moved on then. But anyway, we had a meeting with all the players, and they hated us. I can't believe it, traitors. And it was tough. It was hard on them. And then we moved out of the league business to then we put tables on the floors. Those were for dining. Did a big advertising campaign focusing on new menu and all that.
That's cool. That's the answer. That's
the evolution of that place.
Sure.
89 to pre-COVID.
Because so my first experience with grandma's was the sports garden. So I came here in 16. I moved to Duluth. And I got a second major at UMD. And
what's your major?
So my first one is political science and econ minor.
Nice.
And then I did physical education and coaching. So
political science, underrated major.
It was fun. I love debates and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, it helps you understand the landscape of how we got here.
Definitely. But my friends was like, "Hey, y'all, you gotta go to the sports garden with us." And I was like, "Where's that?" And when you're at UMD, a lot of times you're just in that bubble. Friday is downtown. You party at the Flame, and you go to Aces and Spurs. And then Saturday,
somebody has Wednesday, somebody has Thursday, somebody has Friday.
Wednesdays was that was the Thickers when we would go to what's the Mexican
tap room.
No, it was the Mexican restaurant.
Was that? Well, it was not
Yeah,
in
it
16.
was Chi-Chi's,
It's
but not
Lindo.
16.
Lindo,
there
yeah.
you
So
go.
it was Lindo and then the Rex underneath.
Rex.
Yeah, Rex
Sorry.
underneath.
Yes.
And that was fun. And it was like $2.50 drinks. And then Thursdays was Grandmom's
Upstairs.
Up Bar. Oh my
Grandma's
God.
Canal Park.
Yeah. Whew. I'll tell you what. That was a wild time too. Because I think it was like 250 Long Islands. And it was just.
Pictures of Long Island.
Not at the Up Bar that I remember.
Okay.
It was.
They were there, but they weren't.
Yeah.
It was the garden that was kind of
The
famous for
garden.
the pictures.
The garden would do $5 pictures
Yeah.
of either Long Island's or this kamikaze nasty ass blue drink. But you're in college, who cares?
Yeah.
We're going to booze. You go with $20. I get 4 pictures. Oh, it's over.
You shouldn't be drinking for
No, we shouldn't.
Oh my
But
God.
once again, our colleges, a dark time, but.
Still finding.
Yes, but I tell you what, it was fun because, especially in the winter when you ain't got nothing else to do and you don't want to throw a house party because you sick of cops, we gonna go to Grandma's. We get rides that way. No way, none of us gotta drive. You can do Ubers. It's easier.
That was nice to hear.
Yes. Oh yeah. We didn't. Nah, not in college. It's
Good.
don't do it. And it's always cops down there. But we used to go. I used to dance. I mean, there's many nights I lived there without a shirt on, just living. Body just out for the world. Loving it though. It was a great time.
Hey, the nightclub business was an awesome business for a while. It was getting a little scary towards right before COVID because it was instead of going out socializing and boy meets girl kind of environment, it started transitioning into gangs and a little bit of turf and a little bit of
and I remember that too.
Like
it started getting to a point where it was like some of y'all shouldn't even be in here.
That's
like,
correct.
Y'all not. I mean, I'll never forget this. So my first fight was probably my only fight here in Duluth. I'm not really violent, but there was this older guy and some girls that came with us and they had met some friends there. This guy had to be 40 something.
At the garden?
Yeah, at the garden. And I'm thinking, who the hell is it? He with 2 other people. He's like, oh, can I buy you a drink? She's like, no, I'm all right. Why can't I buy you a drink? And it's like, so I'm listening to this conversation. So I had given my friend my drink. I was like, yo, she don't want a drink. You got to go ahead. This ain't got nothing to do with you. First of all, calm down. 1, 2, you're like 40 in here trying to talk to a fucking 19-year-old girl. Like, what are you doing? That's weird, dude.
Fit here.
Yeah, so you can just get out. He start popping up. Whatever. You can talk. That don't bother me. He go to shove me, and I'm thinking, oh shit, now I gotta beat his ass. So I only hit him once, knocked him out. Cops came in, and we knew the 2 bartenders at the bottom, and they started to grab me. He was like, no, the dude shoved him, so they jumped over the thing. Yeah.
Okay,
and I didn't even know it was cops at first, so I'm starting to throw this officer. As soon as he got in front, I said, oh shit, it's a cop. Other dude grabbed me. I'm like, oh, I'm not resisting. I didn't know. I thought this was his friends trying to jump on me, whatever. So they had to call the ambulance because the dude's jaw was broke. Get the dude up off the ground. I'm outside, but they talked to the guy and to the people, got the whole story. I ain't getting no trouble. I was good. But that might have even been the last time I was there because I was like, I don't like this no more.
Yeah.
And 40's too old for that crowd.
Man,
I'm 42. I haven't been in a nightclub in 20 years.
And it's weird. I'm 32 now. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'll probably never go back. Not to where I know college. I don't even like hanging around college kids at all. Like, if it's a different crowd, but it's still, I'm not even a nightclub guy. Just let me sit in a bar and have a drink with my friends. I don't want to dance. I like dancing at weddings.
There's a place for things
Exactly.
as you realize now, and the 40 thing is funny. I have a very. This might be too. I think it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I opened the garden and we had an incredibly successful dry night there. There's I think it was 16 and over, and we had dance contests that were. That would rival anything you see on TV.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were fantastic and had the people like yourself there from the neighborhoods with their groups, who were dancing was huge, in the earlier in the 2000s. I mean, it's still good, but I mean, it was off the charts there. There were 900 people in there, watching these dance groups. But anyway, I'm checking out at Target one day, and this girl's looking at me, and and I go, and I think I'm somebody, because I've just opened the hottest nightclub in Duluth, and I go, do you recognize me or something? And she goes, yeah, you look real familiar. And I go, what do you? Well, I just opened a sports garden. She goes, that's it. And she goes, oh, so you're like the owner there? And I go, not the owner, I just manage. She goes, oh, I just thought you were some perv that hung out on dry night. Put me right in my place.
Yeah. Quick.
Yep.
Quick.
So
sometimes you got to hear it, though.
Well,
you know what?
Paradigm shift for me.
That's it, yeah.
You're not that cool.
Yeah.
And you got a succession plan here, buddy. You're putting people off.
Yep. Oh, that's funny. So, from once COVID happened, was there, and I'm guessing it was, a lot of conversation back and forth to like open or close and like revamp, or what was the decision that made it say, okay, no more nightclub?
Well, again, a bit of an evolution, but it was clear. Well, first of all, the garden was closed. I want to say 2.5 years.
Yep.
2.5 years. Holy. Belicio's was closed for 18 months. I mean, that COVID was something else. It was something else. And it was the first time, so I talked about how I fell in love with hospitality and how it just met so many of my needs and how I wanted to lean into it and be the best at it. COVID changed that for me. It was the first time ever in my life that I remember not liking my job. It was just too much. And it was very discouraging to see people so at odds with each other. You know, there would be the guy who is the believer in the mask and the social distancing against the guy who thinks it's all wrong. And then the host is trying to manage those two. And, you got to put your mask on when you get up from your table. And people losing their dignity over it. Just, don't tell me what to do, young lady. It was just a very, very difficult time. So anyway, we went back and forth on what the garden should do. And we did finally land on, good wisdom, that it should be an event center. It's in the heart of, it's near hotels. It's got lots of side businesses that would support it. Things you want to do when you're going to an event. Let's go walk the canal. We can walk over to the hotel. Let's go here after the event. And it has worked out famously.
Very good.
And I think it will probably rival the garden's glory years.
Awesome, that's good.
A year or two. I mean, we're doing Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday weddings there, all through the season. So, and those are a lot of work.
For sure.
Weddings are a lot of work. It is not easy money. Nope. It is your most important day of your life, and you have 700 questions and 25 phone calls every day up until your event. So there's a lot of precision hand holding and working very closely with folks.
Now, is it only open on weekends, or is it open Monday through Thursday?
Anytime there's a special event. So, like Art Cetra might have theirs for a fundraiser for the hospitals on a Thursday. It's just like any event center. You call, you book what you need on the day you need it.
You know what's crazy?
Shameless plug.
This is no. Let me tell you why I'm glad we just plugged this, because so every year we do a real big Christmas event where we feed 500 to 700 people, but we also give gifts to all the kids. So I think we gifted last year a little over 500 kids.
Holy cow.
And it's gotten so big that we said, we should go to the deck. Number one, I can't afford the deck. It's crazy. And in my mind, I always beat myself up because I think I don't know another place that I can go and look at and possibly do this. This might be it.
This might be it.
This might be the
We were
move.
just talking about this the other day.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like,
And is this community-wide?
it's for the community, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Free.
and it's free. So,
Do you have sponsors?
yes and no.
Okay.
So, I'll do small fundraising throughout the year for this. But we do have certain people that like donate, like Dr. Snell, donate money.
Nice.
Goldie will, people like that are always, donate towards, and then whatever, if we get like petty cash, I always put it to the side. That's all for Christmas stuff.
Nice.
And then we also had this thing with Target last year where they gave us $5,000.
Yahoo.
And that was really cool. So we literally got to buy $5,000 worth of toys from Target. Well, we didn't do $5,000. We did like $3,000, and then some of them we just did gift cards for parents, so they can have something too. Then they can get some food or stuff like that if they want. So yeah, we got to give
a quick
out
trip sponsorship.
I know. Listen, that's what it is. I want to plug all these different places because it really is kids from all over, and we specifically ask only the ones that we know are in need, because there's a lot of kids. Sometimes we get kids that come, I'm like, you're fine. I know that. I'm never going to turn you away.
That's a hard line
it
to
is.
draw.
Oh, it's very hard,
Yeah.
and I'll never turn you away, but it's like, for the parents, it's like, listen, if you can do it for your kids and,
Okay.
try, come eat, come have fun, why not? But for the ones we know, especially ones that stay in like Damiano or places like that, or Steve O'Neill's, and we know they struggle, to get Christmas. And I know what it was like for me and my brother when we was growing up. My mom did not have it, and my little brother, he gonna be mad that I say this, but I don't care. 'Cause I love it. But on Christmas every year, he would run away. He would run away from home because he hated going to school and seeing all the kids bring their new toys.
God.
He hated that. So there was times like if I had, if somebody gave me something, whatever, I'll just give it to him. I ain't really care about presents or nothing, but I'll just give my brother, whatever, and just so he can have some.
Sure.
But
Don't want to see him suffer.
Nah, I hate it.
Home.
Yeah, because that's my dog. You know what I mean? It's like I don't want to see you upset or mad or nothing. And even seeing other kids where I'm from, that's just. They didn't have sometimes even a place to stay. They all live with their grandma, whatever, mom and dad, not in the picture at all. So, and we know all the kids in the neighborhood or just community from east all the way to out here that struggle the most. And it's like, all right, well, look, we targeting y'all. Y'all about to have the best Christmas y'all probably ever had.
So the format is dinner and then gifts.
Yeah, and I'm Santa, and I dress up as Santa.
Okay.
And we take pictures with all y'all. So Joe come
awesome.
here, it is. I'll show you the pictures later.
Okay. And do you have this year figured out yet?
Not yet, but we're working on it
Okay.
because Christmas will be here. I mean, we about to be in mid-October.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, we're working on it, but we don't have a location.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't have a
yeah,
location,
not yet.
okay.
So yeah, we
Yeah,
talk.
Christmas is in the event world. We say Christmas is tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
So,
wonder if we could tie something in with Bentleyville too.
yeah, that would be fun. So our kids love going to Bentleyville.
Yeah.
They love it.
That's a big deal.
1,000 of them just running.
That's really transformed,
Yeah.
Duluth in the winter, quite frankly.
For sure.
Yeah, because after the event, they could walk across.
That's
Because the
right.
bridge is still open in the winter, right?
The bridge is. It's
Yeah.
permanent down once those boats get out. And the only thing, we'll get them there. I was going to say the waterfront is still under construction, the seawall, but you go through the deck parking.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be very interesting.
Yeah, I haven't been over that. Well, I was on the. Never mind. I ain't gonna talk about it. I was gonna talk about the boat.
The haunted ship?
No. The spirit.
We're in a wholesome place right
Oh,
now.
someplace.
Oh, okay. Made for prime. This is prime time. Right?
Yeah, it's prime time. So what's next for grandmas? Is there is right now you're kind of just seeing what the places you have are doing? Are you looking to expand again in the future as things start to really settle back in after COVID and
Yeah, well, there's always something going on
Yeah.
with us in our restaurants in Canal Park and Bayfront, and it's always some fun challenges and some wonderful things to see and do. We specifically to that, as I mentioned, we're rolling into Bentleyville now. we just had a meeting, and I hope this comes to fruition, of, I hope I can say this, I am going to say it, another Tall Ships Festival coming
cool.
in 2025
Cool.
in the middle of July. And that's a, big week, and I sponsor that to maintain all the food and beverage in the footprint of the event, and the event is, have you been to a Tall Ships yet?
No, I've only seen pictures of
Pretty
it.
cool.
They were probably here before you even moved here.
I think 2010 was, and 2013 were our high points. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what you had before, man.
Real big and really interesting. The whole waterfront is filled with relic and historic ships.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like you're in the 1600s or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not sure what year.
Right.
Oh, I would love it. I'm sure our kids would go crazy seeing
Yeah.
something like that. I always look for those things down here,
Your
like
kids would enjoy it.
just enjoy it.
Yeah.
I remember the year they had the hot air balloon festival.
Oh
here.
yeah.
And I remember just looking. I've never seen a hot air balloon. I was like, this is probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Just a bunch of them, just in the field, and it's like I would love them to bring that back just for some of our kids to see some of that.
Well,
stuff, so.
it's funny you should mention that. So that's Kearns and Company, and,
Okay.
and you're right. That was very unique for us. The problem is hot air balloons and wind don't work
too windy.
in concert, and we have a prevailing wind down there every day.
Yeah.
So Ryan the Kearns and Company actually replaced it with their October Festival,
Yeah, and that's fine.
and that's pretty doggone fun
I love
event.
it.
Yeah,
And I hate
world
beer,
class.
but not that day.
Yeah, it's
I'll
world, and
drink
they have
a
some
beer.
neat. They have some. Do you like ciders?
I love ciders. I'm
Okay.
a big cider guy.
They have some German beers now that are real similar to ciders.
Okay.
They're, Rambler, this thing I had this year was this grapefruit cider almost.
Oh,
It
that
was
sounds
wonderful.
good. Yeah.
It was great.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good event. But
Yeah.
anyway, so there's always something exciting going on. In Canal Park, for sure. We're still trying to elevate our outdoor seating, and make it bigger and better. Oh, I'm cramping. Okay. I'm good. I'm good.
We need softer seats.
I'm glad I've got one.
He's right, the water helper.
And we're meeting with this administration now to begin to talk about the next Renaissance phase for Canal Park.
Cool, yeah.
Trying to do some new streetscape amenities, some new plazas, some new walking corridors from Lake Walk to Bay Walk.
Heck yeah, yeah.
And
Very cool.
in negotiating that with them right now, we're pretty sure we want to add another waterfront hotel down there.
Okay.
Yeah, right next to the deck. Kind of a real focus on being a convention center and waterfront hotel.
For sure.
It's
Yeah.
killer combo.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And see, I work a lot with the Canal Park Business District because whenever they have issues with youth,
You were
I know
wonderful.
them all. Yeah, so I go down there and do. And now,
You were highly regarded at Adventure
Yeah,
Zone for your work there.
yep, and they were great. Honestly, everybody I met down there throughout businesses were super cool. Cause I told them, I said, listen, just let me come in and do my thing. I promise you I'll be fine. Sure enough, they really haven't had any issues.
Right. You should just poke your head in there regularly. Just come down and we'll buy you lunch and pizza and we'll work for food.
Yeah, it's all day.
Yeah.
All day. This body don't come from air, But I got one more question for you because I always ask people this. If you could go back and say something to your younger self, what would it be?
I think I kind of touched on it earlier, to tell you the truth. And that is, if you're searching for happiness, and I wish I would have known this a long time ago. You're going to find emptiness if that's what you're searching for. If you're embracing your responsibilities, really embracing them and trying to examine your life and its meaning and its purpose, happiness will be that byproduct that flourishes out of all that. Yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah.
The other thing we touched on, and it's funny because I keep an email to myself on this stuff.
Okay.
I also have an adult child, so when I have this insight and I say, I wish somebody would have told me that. I wish somebody would have told me that men are not good listeners earlier. I'll call my boy. Hey, Reed, I got to tell you this. I've been thinking about this, and men are inherently poor listeners because they want to fix everything right out of the chute. So just shut up and listen. You know, honestly, it's great to be able to apply it now.
Yeah.
But so in that email, one of the other things, and again, I mentioned that I was raised with not a lot of direction. So, just like you, you were raised in your peer group, and your peer group was the ones who taught you how to, what to focus on, boo, how to treat women, boo, how to, they don't have any forward-thinking skills. They're just in the now and in the moment in the 5-foot box. So to that, maybe find a mentor of somebody you want to emulate. Somebody that, for me, it would have been smart for me to seek out somebody who was into films. And but even if you can't find that, somebody you admire, lean into them and find out what they're about.
Yeah,
and that would be another piece of advice that I would probably give myself earlier, instead of getting all your direction from your peer group.
Yeah, no, that's real good, especially for men. Like you were saying, it's like we could be very prideful, or like we don't want to take advice from other people, or because we got it,
We got this.
But I love learning, and I do. I ask a lot of questions. Sometimes some people think it's a lot, but it's like I'm just trying to really learn this and understand. Like, how did you get to your thought process when it comes to this? Because I know what mine is, and sometimes it ain't always the best path, So
Right.
how do I kind of fix or clean up some of that?
I am not the benchmark of how to do it right.
Yep.
But I have learned through the process.
Yeah.
I tell that to my boy all the time. I was not the benchmark. Just because I was here at 18 doesn't mean you shouldn't be here at 18.
Yeah, for sure.
You should be way beyond that, because you had the environment, you had the mentor opportunities, you had. So he's awesome.
Awesome.
Works for my competition across the street at Lake Avenue Cafe.
Getting after it. That a boy. That boy, he learned a lot. Well, hey, I really appreciate you being on with us and sharing some of your
good
life
stuff.
Yeah, it was real good. So
feel like I learned a lot here too.
Yeah, no, and that's what it's about. Just conversation and talking and learning, listening. That's why we do it. So
it sounds like life to me.
For sure. Yep. And thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
All right, now the real question: who came up with the tetrazzini?
Oh, good question. He just passed away.
Okay.
His name was Mike Melby, and he was our executive purchaser, and he worked with he worked very closely with our chefs, and the chef that he devised the tetrazzini with was named Mick Mickelson, still in town, don't know what he's doing.
Okay.
But Mike Melby and Mick Mickelson, we call them the Cheese Brothers.
The Cheese
Very
Brothers.
good.